While many investors are risk adverse, my next guest seems to enjoy it. He built a telecom empire that spans multiple continents by investing in countries like Iraq and North Korea, among others. He's not shy from political risk either. He outspokenly supported the sanctions against Qatar last year and helped bankroll the movement that brought an end to the Muslim Brotherhood's rule in his homeland of Egypt. It is my pleasure to welcome to the program Orascom TMT Investments Chairman Naguib Sawiris. It's great to see you, Naguib.
Hi, Aria.
Thank you so much for joining us. You know, what strikes me is we've got all of these things happening in the world right now, from North Korea to Iran to China, and you have found opportunities in a lot of these places that otherwise people would think are scary, like North Korea. You founded the telecom company in North Korea. Tell us how you did it.
I mean, first of all, you know, in the telecom world, most of the countries have a cellular network, so we didn't have a choice. I mean, people tell me, why did you go there? I said, I didn't have a choice. It was one of the few places in the world that did not have a cellular network. Like the three countries that at that time were open is North Korea, Myanmar, and Cuba. So both the two other countries did not allow for that, but the North Koreans embraced the idea. And first I had skepticism myself that they will allow the population to own a phone. And everybody was warning me it's going to be a network for the generals and so on. And today we have 3 million subscribers. So I went there by virtue of need for a new market, you know. And I am there since 9 years, so it hasn't been easy, you know.
Wow, 3 million subscribers. When you say it hasn't been easy, tell us about it, because we know nothing about this regime other than what we read.
It's a closed economy. We can't operate the way we would prefer to, so there's a lot of interference. There is a difficulty to get your profits outside the country, you know, to repatriate foreign currency, because they have a shortage of foreign currency. And with the sanctions, things got even more difficult, you know.
Yeah, let's talk about those sanctions. The president is supposed to meet with Kim Jong-un on June 12th. I don't know if this meeting happens. What do you think, and how crippling have the sanctions been in terms of the North Korean economy?
No, they've been very crippling, you know, but the Chinese keep them alive anyhow. And the Chinese could never close the tap completely, because then they will lose their leverage, you know. So they use the leverage on North Korea with the West. So if they would burn it, all what they will do is create a new an enemy in North Korea and so on. So, but the sanctions have been tough, you know. But, you know, as I said earlier, you have to, when there is gesture coming from one side and there is a will to sit down and talk, the rhetoric about a war and destroying and Libya and all that should stop, you know, because he's dismantling his site. He's released the three, you know, the three prisoners,
hostages, yeah, sure.
Prisoners, you know, and therefore we should embrace that with also gestures too, and then we sit and talk. If we don't like the outcome of the talk, we can always resort to war, but what war? A war that will destroy South Korea first, you know, because we're very far here in the U.S., you know, nothing will happen here. But what about South Korea? I mean, they must be frantic when we talk about war, you know.
Yeah. What's the China connection? Tell us about that. I think for a little while, China was holding back on some exports to North Korea to try to help the U.S. get Kim Jong-un to the table.
I think what they've done is, and they should be, applauded for it, is they have exerted some kind of a pressure. They've signaled some pressure, but they can't break completely, because otherwise they lose the leverage. So they have to deal with them with a lot of sensitivity, you know. So I think they've helped convince him to talk, you know. But I think the best thing is always, I mean, I think the meeting is going to take place.
You do? You think
yes,
it happens?
And I think it will have immense results, you know. The only thing that needs to stop is rhetoric, military joint with South Korea while he's dismantling a nuclear plant. It doesn't even make sense. I mean, it's like when I come and shake hands with you and you tell me you take your weapon up. So it's like, that's nonsense, I mean.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
And, you know, this is a problem is always here is to understand the how can I say, the mentality of the other party. I mean, sometimes people here are insensitive to people's cultures, you know. So the culture of the Oriental culture is, if you respect me, I'll give you everything you want. If you bully me, okay, I'll continue doing what I'm doing.
Right.
You know?
Then my back goes up.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me ask you about the culture of China, the way China and the U.S. have been interacting, this whole trade conversation. Should there be tariffs?
It's a good wake-up call, because as the Chinese have always been taking the U.S. and the Western world for a ride. They've stolen intellectual properties, you know, they never paid for it. They've closed their markets totally. Look at my area. telecom. Did you ever hear of a Vodafone or a Deutsche Telekom or T-Mobile being in? It's all Chinese. The equipment is all Chinese. They don't allow any even ISP, internet portals. Even when Uber tried to go there, they created their own version and swallowed Uber. So it's a mentality of, so if you want to do this, then we should close our markets too for you, or we should put the tariffs, to finally get a wake-up call, because, I mean, sometimes here people think the Americans are naive. I mean, they take you for a ride, and it should not be like that. So I support the president totally in this.
I think everybody gets this because China has been stealing the U.S.'s intellectual property now for years. And when you want to go and operate in China, you'll only get a 49% stake in a joint venture. And when you do, the board of directors says, okay, put all your technology on the table.
Even the 49%, this is if you're lucky. Usually they'll give you the bone, they won't give you anything. That's like...
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of, stealing intellectual property, they won't even admit they do it, Naguib. So how do you fix that when they won't even admit, yes, this is true?
No, I mean, you fix it by also employing other sanctions, directing to that. Do you think now all the people who are using Microsoft are using legitimate licenses? I doubt,
ZTE, this was really the issue. Your thoughts? You've obviously seen them in the telecom business.
ZTE, I've seen them always in weird situations. They've always been there where they should not be. I don't think they played. I mean, they're the worst from everybody. I mean, I think they needed also a wake-up call. But I think if the president now sees an opportunity to play them against the other interests, the Chinese should open their markets to Western players. They can't just come here and trying to buy stuff and export their goods while they're closing their markets, and they are.